Okay, we're going to continue to move forward with 2 tech talks. So I want to, first of all, I'll go ahead and introduce both of them. The first one will be Fact versus Fiction, PCV3 Unraveled, and that will be by Dr. Eduardo Fano from our technical team. And then the second one will be IAV Swine Control, Reminders of what made Whole Herd Approach a Success. And that will be by Dr. Krista Goodell. So Eduardo, if you can come up first, and then we'll roll right into Krista after that. And then following that, if you have any questions, we'll take some questions. So, okay. Eduardo?
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me well? All right, this is going to be quick. I'm going to talk about PCV3. Going to be update, facts, and myths. Actually, I'm going to really focus in facts, because if we are able to identify the facts, it's going to be easy to understand what the myths are about PCV3. One of the reality with PCV3 is there is a lot of information coming up. This is new. I was checking in PubMed 2 days ago, and I was able to see this. 66 papers, peer-reviewed papers about PCV3. I did the same maybe 6 months ago, and that was more in 40s, so they are coming, There is a lot of excitement about PCV3. So that's the first thing we're gonna need to realize. It's gonna be a lot of information, so we're gonna need to start kind of organizing all this information, all these ideas. So about the virus, first, PCV3 met the criteria for a new species, so we have a new virus. That is a fact. It's a family of Cercovidae virus, so we have a new one. We understand that in this family, when we have 3 known circovirus, now 3, PCV1, PCV2, now we have a PCV3. That is real, we have a new virus. PCV3 shares less than 50% identity with PCV1 and 2. At the whole genome level, which is important, so it's a completely different virus than PCV2. PCV3 and PCV2 share only 37% of capsid protein identity. So, as I mentioned before, this is a different virus. And you understand, this is the most important part when we try to compare immunogenicity between viruses of difference, we go to the capsid. First reported in US swine herds in 2016, so it's kind of new. Actually, everybody knew that 2015 was when people was kind of taking samples, investigating these kind of weird cases. And it was in 2016 when we have a kind of official report of this new virus. More about the virus. Facts. Current PCV3 genomes in the US share over 98% identity. So we are kind of some difference between different strains, widespread in the United States, but they are not that different. PCV3 has been detected in the United States, China, Thailand, South Korea, Brazil, and a lot of countries. As soon as we have PCR, after the field reports here in the US, so everybody start testing and finding PCV3 everywhere. PCV3 is widespread in the US, as I mentioned before, and co-infection with PCV2 and pairs were commonly found in PCV3 samples. So this is what we know about PCV3 detection. What about the next step? When we identify a new virus, we detect the new virus, so the next step is start talking about disease association. Is that new virus that we are finding in the sample we send to the lab is related to a disease? So this is what we know, facts. Cardiac and multisystemic inflammation, that was reported here in the United States. That was one of the first reports, 2016. Also, we have PDNS association, reproductive failure association. That was the second, that was actually was the very first. You go back to the peer review and literature review, the PDNS, reproductive failure, was the first one, and right after we saw that, we got the second report here in the US, so both are from here, from the US. And also, we start seeing these reports about the first ideas about PCV3 association with some clinical disease. Respiratory disease and pyrexia, PRDC, this is China, and Thailandia, and also we have this abortion, stillborn, reproductive failure, that is Italy, China again. Another one, congenital tremors, China, PDNS, China, and recently, actually, I don't want to steal the storm from Bailey Arruda, but she's going to be presenting a very interesting poster. And actually, I'm really excited just to see what new she's bringing to the poster. I mean, to this very new information. Reproductive failure, as well as multisystemic inflammation in suckling and growth to finish animals. So that is very new. There is a lot of new information, but I'm using this just to have kind of a sequence of all the disease association. Actually, if something is changing, and this is PCV3, the PCV3 landscape is changing every day. So if you start checking for new information, you're going to get it. Actually, related to the first presentation, change happens. And now change is happening, and we need to get adapted and learn about this. And about disease association, so at this point, I'm still talking about association only. So we have all these buckets about potential clinical manifestation, multisystemic disease, PDNS, reproductive, others. Here, in these 4 packets, we see one that is kind of, we start putting this a little bit apart. It's a little bit more consistent, that is reproductive failure. If we jump to this one, most of the studies, most of the peer review about association are related to reproductive failure, which is something interesting because we are kind of narrowing down the knowledge, and looks like everything is getting there to the reproductive failure packet. What we know, PCV3 has been associated with stillborn, mummies, and abortion. If you do a search in all these papers, this is going to be kind of the common denominator, these 3 things. Abortion cases have a high rate of PCV3, positive result 40%, that was presented by University of Minnesota. PCV3 has been associated with histological lesions in aborted fetus as well, the University of Minnesota. And PCV3 was detected in at least 22 cases of reproductive loss from 20 sites between January and November of 2018 by ISU. So looks like everything is getting there. I'm not saying that this is a final association, but looks like everything is getting there. We are narrowing down the information here. Okay, I talk about video detection. I talk about potential association. Now what's next? It's reproduction of disease. Again, I don't want to steal the storm from Bailey, but she's presenting this poster in this meeting, and she's going to be talking about this PCV3, a newly discovered swine pathogen. What is the important thing? They use tissue homogenate. That is the first step of the dog postulate, where they inoculate animals, where they got this viremia consistently, but clinically all animals were unremarkable. So they didn't see clinical signs, which is fine. I mean, this is the first step. I don't think nobody kind of discovering or trying to define a disease were able to get it the first time. So I think it's progress. And about the histopathology, for the reason I'm really excited to see the poster because they're going to present the information. So we talk about virus detection, potential association. The first study is about confirmation. I mean, kind of working in the gut postulate, isolate, inoculate, reproduce the disease, replicate the model. That is the final process. So now, at this point, what is the current status? First, at least 63 peer-reviewed publications in the elite review, PCV3, from December 26 to March 2019. 2015. So a lot of information, we need to keep going. PCV3 met the criteria for a new species, and it was first reported in US, swine herd, in 2016. That's fact. PCV3 is widespread in the US, and co-infection with PCV2 and pairs are commonly found in PCV3 samples. The other thing, we clearly know there is a clinical association with PDNS, multisystemic reproductive failure, PRDC, and tremors. However, reproductive failure has been the most consistent clinical association. I'm not saying that this is going to be the final definition of the disease, but looks like it's the most consistent clinical association. Reproduction of disease studies have been recently done and published. We have this by Dr. Arruda, and also we have one from China, but we're still trying to understand the message from the one in China where they were able to replicate PDNS. But here in the United States, we have this from ISU. Next step will be the replicability of these challenge models. That's going to be the next step. And a definitive PCV3 associated disease definition is still unknown. So we're still missing that part, but I think the industry and the swine science community is making good progress, and I think we are narrowing down all the knowledge and getting to this point. With this, I finish.